and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This evening, my guest returning is Mr. Eric Davis, Board of Education from our very own Charlotte Mecklenburg City. How you doing there, Mr. Davis?
Just fine, Mr. Brown. Thanks for having the opportunity to meet with you.
No, sir. Thank you for coming back on the show
Sure.
and providing us more knowledge on the CMS. Really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Why does CMS want to provide the best education available anywhere?
Well, I'll just speak first from a parent's perspective. My wife and I have 2 daughters, and there's nothing more than you want for your children than to have a better opportunity and a better life than what you have as yourself. And so my desire springs from that. It's what every parent wants for their child. But then it's really more than that. I mean, the very foundation of our success as a nation, the very health and vitality of our economy, our ability to defend ourselves and prosper rest on the quality of education and how our children perform academically. And so those are all the reasons why we strive at CMS to deliver for every child the education they need to be a productive, contributing member of society, regardless of the circumstances of our birth. And until we reach that goal, that will be our mission, and we'll strive every day to come closer to that aspirational goal.
Some of the goals that y'all have described would be high academic achievement, effective educators, and safe and orderly schools. What's the status of that? Because you're doing an outstanding job, the school system.
Well, our basic premise is we need to shift the culture of the school system from one that has historically been mostly compliance-based, you know, are we doing the right things at the right time, to performance-based. Are our students actually learning what they need to know, and can they demonstrate mastery of that knowledge? Performance, results, that's what matters. And so what we're embarking on is a journey to align everything we do in our school system towards contributing to student outcomes. And if it's not in alignment with contributing to student outcomes, then we need to rethink through that issue and improve upon it. And unfortunately, the last 3 or 4 years, the economy has dealt us a serious blow in being able to align everything with student outcomes. And we've had to do some things that ordinarily we would not want to do, but because of the economics of the situation, we had to cut spending. And so now we're in a process of putting things back in the system. Primarily additional staff, compensation for our staff who has gone 3 to 4 years without any increase in compensation, greater use of technology, and other things that will directly improve the educational experience and outcomes for our students.
Okay, I noticed recently the acting superintendent, he just made an issue about the 3% that he wanted to provide to the teachers. What's the status on that?
Well, thus far, our superintendent has made that proposal to us.
Correct.
The next step is he will, along with the other things that he desires to recommend, will recommend to the board his proposed budget. And then it's up to the board to review his proposal, to add our own thoughts to what we think should be in the budget, and then to prioritize those items, and then to make a formal request of the county commission. And so our ability to provide that increase in compensation is really tied to the priorities that we establish for our budget and the amount of additional funding the county is able to provide. Recently, Commission Chair Cogdell came out with a statement which I think many heard as him saying that he was not in favor of those raises. That's not what I heard. What I heard him say was he's more likely to be in favor of an increase if it's tied to performance,
correct,
to merit. And I think he's absolutely correct. We give students grades based on their performance. Why shouldn't we do the same with adults? Why shouldn't we reward those who are doing much more to improve our children's education? I believe in merit pay and merit performance evaluation. And I think that's what I heard Commissioner Cogdell do. So I think it's up to us as a board to work with the county commission to find common ground for the benefit of our students.
Thank you for the clarity on that, State from Commissioner Cogdell. Okay, what's the status on the superintendent position? I mean, because I feel like the superintendent we have right now, he's doing a great job, especially since what he came into to what he's doing right now.
Well, I agree with you. I think Hugh Hadabon is doing
Correct.
a fabulous job. He, in a time of great uncertainty and instability, even instability on the board, he's done a marvelous job of keeping our focus on student outcomes, on keeping the system moving forward, on making some adjustments as necessary, but keeping our emphasis on performance forefront in student outcomes. But in terms of the superintendent search, we've completed a community listening, community engagement period, which ran through the formally the end of the year, and we've now received a report of what areas the community is interested in us including in that superintendent search, things like an effective communicator, someone who is skilled and experienced in education, someone who has the capacity to lead and who can build trust and confidence in our system. We then use that input to develop a profile, a set of instructions to our search firm. This is the type of person, these are the characteristics that we're looking for in our next superintendent. And so our search firm today is using the next 6 weeks or so to receive applications and letters of interest from interested candidates, use that profile to vet those candidates, and then the board will go through a series of interviews to determine our next superintendent.
That's great. That's great. Another topic that I would like to get into is the security within our school system. I haven't really heard anything negative as far as going on in the school system as far as security-wise. What impact does our security have on the safety of our children?
Well, certainly if what we're about is improved academic achievement, better performance academically on the part of our students, we have to provide a safe, secure learning environment for them. And that's in all aspects of safety and security. We're fortunate that the city continues to support us in providing school resource officers, dedicated security staff to our schools, and we've in some cases increased that staff in situations where it was necessary. We need the city to continue to support us in that regard. The schools, not all of them, but nearly every one of our schools sits within the city limits of Charlotte. And we need the city's support as the government provider in terms of safety and law enforcement to continue to support us in that regard. I have a tremendous amount of confidence in our principals, in their ability to use the security staff that we provide as well as the rest of our staff in schools to provide a safe, orderly environment. The one additional piece that would help us is for parents to go above and beyond what's necessary to help us build safety in our schools. And many parents are doing that. It's just whatever happens at home or in the neighborhood comes to our schools. Okay. And so on the part of parents and other elected officials, we need to do everything we can to provide safe neighborhoods for our schools to exist in.
Great. Okay, let's talk about bullying. I know we see that a lot in the school systems across the country. How do we handle bullying in our school system?
Well, it starts with, we have a code of conduct, a standard similar to the code of conduct in the military.
Yes, sir.
And while we're not the military, I don't want to imply that, we have a set of standards for how we expect our students, frankly our staff, to conduct themselves during the course of a school day. And so with that standard in place, we then encourage and support students enforcing that standard. In many of our schools, Rocky River, for instance, has on their website a specific tab associated with bullying. How to identify it, what to do in the event that you see an action like that, how to protect yourself and protect your classmate. And so probably the number one thing we can do is support our students in enforcing that standard and building that culture within the district. And then what we do as a board is we really support our staff. When they see an action that's unsafe, a
Correct.
student being bullied, and they recommend to us disciplinary action, we support them. That's the way we ensure a safe working environment and less bullying in our schools so that students can focus on what they should do, which is learning.
And another thing that we see in the school system that I guess a lot of parents think about is the internet. How does the school system handle the internet? Because a lot of down to first grade, they're into that internet.
That's a great question because we've just recently announced movement in that direction. One of the things we've got to do as a school system is use technology more effectively.
Right.
And so our schools are being, those that haven't been, are being installed with the capability to get on the internet, to leverage technology. We're encouraging bring your own technology into the facility, and we're providing safeguards so that when our students and our staff are using that technology, that they're using it appropriately. And we'll continue to provide the safety and security around the internet and other technology tools. But we're embarking on a movement to use technology in a greater way. And not necessarily our generation, but the generations younger than us, they grasp that so quickly. So much quickly, and it will help it'll help us customize education to connect with the student where they are. It'll help the educational experience be that much more attractive and fun and invigorating for our students, and it'll teach them lifelong skills, which is really our job.
I mean, the internet, it's a big thing inside today's society, and teaching them while they're so young, that's an awesome thing for them to be educated on. But I know growing up, that wasn't in the school system.
It really it enhances becoming a lifelong learner. It strikes a student's curiosity, causes them to ask more questions, shows them how they can learn themselves as opposed to having to learn everything from an adult. So it really teaches them a skill that will carry them through their whole life.
But doesn't it get them away from the library type setting? Because, with the internet, you have no need, in a lot of cases, of going to the library, to research topics and stuff like that.
Well, I see it as not an either or, but an and situation.
Okay.
Yes, it's important to know how to use a library and printed materials and books and so forth, but that's not enough.
Okay.
We should also know how to use the internet and other technology, but in the course of learning how to use the internet, we shouldn't forego the benefit and the enjoyment and the physical experience of being in a library. And so I think it's both. We're teaching both at the same time.
Another topic I guess the community was looking at is, I know a lot of our children catch the bus early in the mornings. What should we do as far as for the safety of our children that's out there early in the morning? I know some of the high schools, like 6 o'clock in the morning, still dark.
Yes. Well, there's really an issue on both sides of the day, the early start and the late finish.
Correct.
Because as a result of the financial challenges we faced, we had to adjust our bell schedules. And unfortunately, too many of our students are getting off the bus at 4:15 or getting out of school at 4:15, and in some cases aren't getting off the bus until 5:30 or 6. And on winter nights, you're in the dark.
Correct.
Likewise, many students are getting on the bus 6:30 or so, or even earlier in the morning, headed to school. What we've done as a school system is one, to ensure that our bus drivers are adequately trained, skilled, and prepared to handle difficult situations. And we recently had a situation where one of our bus drivers recognized that there was an issue on the bus, got the students off successfully, and unfortunately it turned out the bus caught on fire. But that's just an example of the heroic efforts every day our bus drivers are doing to ensure our students arrive at school safely. Before they get on the bus and after they get off, we're really dependent on our city to provide adequate lighting, sidewalks, physical security in the neighborhoods, as well as